everyone, so wonderful to see you all here. We'll give it another minute or two for women to join, but while we are waiting, please pop into comments and tell me where are you joining from today and what's your energy level right now on a scale from 1 to 10. Okay, London, Birmingham, North Carolina, Paris. Wow, we are really all over the world. I love that. And now let me have a look at your energy levels. It's 1, 5, tired all the time, 2, 2, 5, exhausted all the time. So it looks like most of you are struggling with fatigue and low energy. And that is exactly why we're here today. The reason why I chose this as our first webinar topic is because most of the women who come to me are dealing with chronic fatigue and real lack of energy. And what I've found time and time again is that it's rarely about motivation or pushing your body harder, right? It's about understanding your physiology, understanding what's actually behind your fatigue and what's truly driving it. And that's exactly what we're going to uncover together today. So let's begin. Within less than an hour, I want to give you something you probably haven't been given before, a real explanation. Not it's just stress, not it's your age, an actual biological map of what's happening inside your body and a clear plan for what to do about it. We're going to cover 4 things together. First, why spring specifically hits women like us so hard, and I promise you there's a specific biological reason for that. Second, the 4 hidden causes of hormonal fatigue that most doctors completely overlook. Third, what actually works and why the things you've probably already tried haven't helped. And fourth, what you can do starting from tomorrow or even from today. But before we go any further, I want to say something important. Whatever you tried before that didn't work, this is not your fault. You will understand exactly why by the end of this workshop. We'll also be talking about the different types of fatigue because not all fatigue is the same, and this matters more than most people realize. So please take a look at this slide. I want you to read through these 4 types of fatigue and notice which one resonates most with you. And while you're doing that, type it in the chat. Which type sounds most like you right now? Is it 1, hormonal fatigue, 2, adrenal fatigue, 3, nutrient fatigue, or maybe 4, circadian fatigue? Because here's what's interesting. Most of you will recognize yourself in more than one, and that's not a coincidence. These patterns very often overlap, they feed each other, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. I want to read out some of the symptoms on the slide, and I'd love you to comment with how many apply to you. So are you ready? Great. So you wake after a full 8 hours of sleep and you feel more exhausted than when you went to bed. You walk into a room and forget why you came. You snap at your husband or your children over something tiny and then you hate yourself for it. You gain weight even though you swear you haven't changed a thing. You lie awake at 3 in the morning with your mind racing or soak the sheets with night sweat. And the things that usually used to light you up, the energy, the spark, the you, have somehow gone quiet. So please let me know how many of those resonate. Please type a number in the comments. Okay, 5 out of 6. Yes, I hear all 6. So I'm so glad you're here today. And here's the thing most of us have done. We've told ourselves it's burnout, or it's we're just getting older, or perhaps we just need to try hard. And the worst part is that we make ourselves feel guilty for struggling. And I want to hear this clearly. What you're experiencing has a name. It has a biological cause and it has a solution. But before we dive in, let me properly introduce myself for those of you who are joining me for the first time. My name is Ostrowska-Wiwer. I'm a biologist, certified herbalist, naturopath, and menopause coach. In my day-to-day work, I support women who are chronically exhausted, women who have been dismissed by the doctors, told that, it's just your age or that's just how it is. Women who are in the middle of hormonal transition, I mean, usually in perimenopause, and have no idea what's actually happening in their bodies. In my practice, I work with herbs and natural therapies, and my approach is always root cause. I don't treat symptoms in isolation, I look what's driving them. And that's exactly what we're doing today, because the only way to fix fatigue permanently, not just manage it, not just push through it, is to understand what's causing it in the first place. So that's where we're starting. Okay, so everyone talks about the spring slump like it's a minor inconvenience, like a jet lag, but for the seasons. All you need just more vitamin C and a nice walk, that's it. But for women, mostly who are 35 plus, spring is something very different. It's a hormonal stress test. And for many of us, it shows exactly what our body has been quietly struggling in winter or over the winter. And here's what's actually happening. After months of short days, your body has been running in what I call conservation mode. So lower melatonin, lower serotonin, reduced hormonal activity. It's your body being intelligent, slowing down, saving resources for winter. Then spring arrives. The days get longer fast, and your biology, which is incredibly sensitive to light, has to completely recalibrate. And three things happen at the same time. They don't take turns, and unfortunately, they all hit at once. So first, your sleep cycle gets thrown off. You are tired during the day, wide awake at night, and this usually is melatonin disruption, and it affects everything downstream. Second is your estrogen and progesterone balance shift, because your hypothalamus responds directly to light changes. And if you are mostly in perimenopause or getting close to it, I mean, if you are in your late 30s, that system is already sensitive and it doesn't take much to push it off balance. And third, this is the one almost nobody talks about. By March and April, most women in colder climates especially are generally depleted. I mean, iron, vitamin D, magnesium, B vitamins, all low after months of little sunlight and winter eating. And these aren't optional extras. These are the basic fuel that your energy, your mood, and your hormones actually run on. So when you're asking yourself why I'm so tired spring, this is why. Three separate biological processes all happening at once. And what do most women get told? Drink more coffee, try harder, is probably just stress. Not really. Uh, After winter, your biological clock has been running on different program. Imagine it like your central heating system being set to a winter mode. Lower output, later activation. When spring suddenly lengthens the days, your body tries to switch to summer mode. But this doesn't happen overnight. It takes weeks, and during that adjustment, everything feels off. So three specific things go wrong. One, it's melatonin drops too slowly. So even though you're physically in bed for 8 hours, your nervous system never reaches the deep restorative stages of sleep you actually need. You wake up feeling like you've run a marathon in your dreams. Two, it's serotonin that hasn't risen yet too much, the new light levels. So serotonin is your motivation, your sense of pleasure, your emotional resilience. When it's low, you feel flat, irritable, and unmotivated. And you blame yourself for it, but it's neurochemistry. It's not your character, it's not your flaw. And number three, here's the most overlooked one, I think. It's cortisol, because cortisol should peak in the morning, giving you get up and go. But when the circadian rhythm is disrupted, cortisol peaks in the evening instead. So you lie awake at midnight with your mind going 100 miles an hour, and then you're exhausted by 9 a.m. Does it sound familiar to anyone? Type yes if you wake up in the night and can't get back to sleep. I will have a sip, sorry. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so the fix isn't complicated, but most women don't do it because nobody ever explained why it matters. 20 to 30 minutes of morning light, that single habit starts resetting the entire melatonin serotonin cycle. No afternoon light, no vitamin supplements as a substitute. Actual outdoor light in the morning. And this is the first thing I recommend my clients, and most women feel difference within 5 to 7 days, trust me. So that's the seasonal side of it, but there's another layer, and this one is the one that makes everything feel personal, like something is wrong specifically with you. Because suddenly, things that used to work, they don't. The diet that kept you lean in your 30s, not working. The exercise that used to give you energy, now it wipes you out. The sleep that used to restore you, you wake up just, tired as when you went to bed. And the reason is your hormones. Specifically, the way your hormones now respond to seasonal light changes is completely different from how they did in your 20s. Here's the biology in simple terms, no technical jargon. So you have a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, and it controls your entire hormonal cycle, and it is incredibly sensitive to light. So when spring arrives and the days get longer, your hypothalamus picks that up and then sends a signal to your pituitary gland, which sends a signal to your ovaries. And the whole chain is called the HPO axis, and it controls your estrogen, your progesterone, and your energy. So these three hormones get hit at once. First, estrogen starts to fluctuate, not gradually, erratically. And one day you feel almost normal, the next day you're exhausted, emotional, bloated. And this isn't classic PMS. This is your estrogen rhythm reacting to the change in light. And second, progesterone drops. And this one really matters because progesterone is your calming hormone. It supports sleep, reduces anxiety, helps you feel steady. When it's low, you're weird at bedtime, you wake up unrested, and your ability to handle stress just shrinks. And here's the part that catches most women off guard. When you stress, and spring is actually a stressful time for the body, even if life feels fine, your body makes cortisol, and cortisol and progesterone, they like compete for the same raw materials, and cortisol always wins. So the more stressed you are, the less progesterone you have every single time. And third, finally, cortisol. Cortisol itself rises as your body adapts to the new season, and high cortisol over time suppresses your thyroid, weakens your immune system, and disrupts estrogen and progesterone production even further. So it becomes like a cascade. One thing feeds the next. And this is why I work with women who are doing everything right, eating well, exercising, going to bed early, and they still feel terrible. They still can't shift the weight, they still wake up exhausted. And it's not failure, it's not weakness, it's simply biology. And once you understand that, everything changes. I've already told about deficiencies, but when I say deficiencies, I'm not being dramatic. I mean your cells are generally running low on the raw materials they need to produce energy and hormones. After a northern winter, this is almost universal and almost universally missed. So let's go through the four most critical ones. Let's start with iron, specifically ferritin, which is a stored form. Most GPs test hemoglobin, which is the emergency level. If hemoglobin is low, you are clinically anemic. But ferritin can be significantly depleted well before hemoglobin drops. And low ferritin causes fatigue, brain fog, hair thinning, and cold hands and feet. All the things you've probably been told are stress. If you never had ferritin specifically tested, I would encourage you to ask your GP for a ferritin test. It's really valuable information. Another, it's vitamin D. In the UK and much of Northern Europe, the majority of women are deficient by March. And this is not fringe wellness. The NHS guidelines recommend everyone supplement in winter, but supplementing at maintenance does the doses at maintenance doses, sorry, when you already severely depleted, it's not the same as restoring healthy levels, and it affects your mood, your immunity, your muscular energy, and crucially your hormonal function. Another important mineral is magnesium. And magnesium is the mineral that is consumed by stress. It's needed for over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including the production of serotonin and the regulation of the nervous system. And winter means less in your diet, and cortisol accelerates the depletion. And finally, the B vitamin complex, particularly B12, B6, and folate. These are the fuels for your brain's energy metabolism. Without them, without vitamin Bs, the no amount of coffee will cut through brain fog, because the machinery that converts food into neurological energy is simply not running properly. So now, here is the critical part, and this is what I want you to take away. And I see this almost every day. You can have a standard blood test come back as within normal limits, within normal range, for all of this, and still be functionally deficient. The laboratory reference ranges are set at the threshold for clinical disease, not for optimal energy, and there's a significant gap between not deficient enough to be ill and thriving. And your liver has a job most people don't know about it. It's responsible for metabolizing and clearing used hormones from your body, specifically estrogen. Once estrogen has done its job, it goes to the liver to be processed and eliminated. But if the liver is busy or overburdened, that process is incomplete. The used estrogen gets recirculated into your bloodstream, and this is called estrogen dominance. And it's one of the most common undiagnosed hormonal patterns in women, most in perimenopause. In spring, the liver works harder as part of the body's natural seasonal detoxification cycle. If it's already under load from alcohol, processed foods, antibiotics, environmental chemicals, it simply can't keep up. And the symptoms of estrogen dominance are almost identical to the general complaints we've been discussing, like bloating, weight gain, especially on the hips and belly, mood swings, sore breast, breast tenderness before your period, fatigue, and brain fog. And so many women are treating the symptoms in isolation without ever addressing the underlying accumulation of estrogen. But the good news is that the liver responds remarkably quickly to the right support, and the best natural liver support is milk thistle that contains compound called silymarin. And milk thistle is one of the most well-researched liver protective plants we have. Sorry, I need to take a sip. Another great herb is dandelion root, because it supports bile flow, which is how the liver excretes processed estrogen. Warm water with lemon first thing in the morning, it activates digestive enzymes. And the single most impactful dietary change, reducing alcohol, because the liver cannot simultaneously process alcohols and metabolize hormones. If you are anything like the women I work with, you've already tried things. You've done the diets, you've bought the supplements, you might have downloaded the wellness apps or spoke to a coach, and none of it quite worked. Or it worked briefly, temporarily, and then faded. And part of you has started to wonder, is it me? Is there something wrong with me specifically? And I want to dismantle that belief right now. Many women start with calorie restriction and low-fat diets that fail women in this stage of life. I mean, if you are in your late 30s, because of something very specific. Reducing calories raises cortisol, and As we've just established, high cortisol steers from progesterone and disrupts the entire hormonal cascade. And women can be in a genuine caloric deficit and still gain weight, and it's really common because the hormonal environment is working against fat loss. So this is not character flaw, it's physiology. Many women also buy off-the-shelf supplements from pharmacies, and they fail because of three problems. The first one is the wrong chemical form. Magnesium oxide, for example, is barely absorbed versus magnesium glycinate. The wrong dose and no protocol. Taking individual supplements without understanding how they interact and support each other is like assembling furniture with random tools and no instruction manual. So you might get something that looks roughly right, but it won't function. And another thing is that women do intense cardiovascular exercise. I'm not against high intensity exercises, but running, spinning classes, high intensity training very often fail because it generates more cortisol. And for women who are already hormonally depleted, more cortisol means more hormonal disruption. So the body needs resetting before it can benefit from that kind of demand. And probably you didn't fail any program or any protocol. The programs and protocols failed you because they were designed without considering the specific biology of a woman in her late 30s, 40s, or early 50s. That changed today. Please type yes if you've tried diets or supplements and felt disappointed with the results. Yes, that's me. This me. So this is classic, and we can start wondering what does actually work. So let me show you. Herbs. Herbs are really useful, and I want to spend a few minutes on herbs because this is the area where I see the most confusion and honestly the most wasted money. And I'm saying as a herbalist, I'm telling you that as a herbalist. Not all herbs are equal, and taking one herb on its own without understanding the bigger picture is unlikely to give you real lasting results. And I see this all the time. Women spend months on a single supplement, feel nothing, and then decide that herbs don't work. But that's not the problem. The problem is the approach. So let me walk you through, first let me walk you through the 5 herbs I use most in my practice. Probably you've heard about them, maybe you were using them as well. So let's start with a well-known ashwagandha. If I could recommend one thing to a woman dealing with stress and hormonal disruption, this would be ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen and it helps your body manage its stress response and reset cortisol levels. It works gradually over 2 to 4 weeks. Not something you feel overnight, but the results are real and they last. Another great herb, another great adaptogen is rhodiola, but it works slightly different than ashwagandha. It has slightly different action. It helps your body handle both physical and mental tiredness and supports serotonin production. It's brilliant for spring when your body is trying to shift out of winter mode. Another great herb is Vitex. It's not adaptogen, but this one works directly on the estrogen and progesterone relationship. It supports progesterone production and helps bring estrogen back into balance. Particularly, it's really helpful for mood swings, irregular cycles, breast tenderness, and disrupted sleep. Maca root. Maca root is a unique in that it doesn't add hormones to your body. It works with your body's own hormonal system, supporting balance wherever there's a gap. And women constantly report better energy, mood, and increased libido. And milk thistle, we've already talked about milk thistle, is great herb for the liver, helps the body clear excess estrogen properly. And as we talked about earlier, if estrogen isn't being cleared, everything else is just harder. But now here's the most important thing I want you to take from this section, this herbal section. These herbs are generally powerful. I use them every day, and I've seen it with my clients. I use them every day, and I've seen uh, how they change women's lives. But they only work when used in the right order, for the right reason, for the right person, because not every herb is right for every woman. For example, Vitex isn't suitable for everyone because it depends on where you are in your hormonal transition. Ashwagandha is brilliant for some women and completely the wrong starting point for others. Maca is wonderful, but if your liver isn't clearing estrogen properly first, it's like you pouring water into a leaking bucket. The starting point always has to be what is actually driving your symptoms, what is your root cause. Because if you are exhausted due to low iron or vitamin D, no adaptogen will fix that. If cortisol is the main problem, that needs to come first before anything else can work. This is why I never give generic supplements list. My approach always starts with identifying the root cause and then building the right combination in the right order around that. This is what produces results that actually last. So, we've talked about why spring is hard and we've talked about hormones. But I want to go one level deeper because fatigue is not one thing. And this is where most generic advice falls apart. So please have a look at this slide. There are 4 types of fatigue, 4 completely different root causes, 4 completely different approaches. So each type of fatigue has different root cause. And let's talk about type number 1, which is stress fatigue. This is your HPA axis, your cortisol system, in overload. You probably know this one. You're exhausted, but you can't switch off. You lie awake with racing thoughts. You wake at 2 or 3 a.m. for no reason. You run on coffee and then crash. So if this is you, the keyword is tension. Weird but tired. Type number 2 is liver fatigue. This one quite often surprises people. As you already know, your liver is responsible for clearing used hormones, including estrogen. When it's overloaded, estrogen builds up. And the result is that heavy, sluggish feeling in the morning, bloating, brain fog, PMS that feels worse than it should, slow digestion. So if you feel heavy and sluggish, probably your liver is asking for support. Type number 3, deficiency fatigue. This is your body simply running out of raw materials. Iron, vitamin D, magnesium, B vitamins. The signs are very specific. Weakness that goes beyond tiredness, cold hands and feet, feeling dizzy when you stand up, hair loss, pale skin. So in that case, no amount of rest fixes this because rest isn't what is missing, nutrients are. And type number 4 is hormonal fatigue. And this one follows your cycle. You feel it most in the 7 to 10 days before your periods, energy waves that comes and go, mood crashes, PMS that feels out of proportion. So this is your estrogen and progesterone relationship, and it's one of the most common patterns I see. So now, here's the key thing I want you to notice. Usually, most women are not just one type. The most common combination I see are liver and hormonal together, or stress and deficiency together. And that's exactly why one herb or one supplement on its own, it's never enough. Because you're dealing with more than one root cause at the same time. So, which type sounds most like you? Please type in the chat. Is it 1, stress fatigue, 2, liver fatigue, 3, deficiency fatigue, or maybe 4, hormonal fatigue? Or maybe it's 2 of them. 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 4, all of them. 2, 2. Okay, I hear you. So now let's talk about food. Because what you eat every single day is either supporting your hormones or working against them. And in spring, this matters more than ever. I'm not going to give you a complicated meal plan. I just want you to understand three simple principles, because when you get these things right, everything else works better. So first, adding healthy fats: avocado, olive oil, egg yolks. I know we've been told for years that fat is the enemy, but here's the truth. Cholesterol is the building block of your sex hormones. And without enough healthy fat in your diet, your body literally cannot make estrogen and progesterone properly. So no healthy fats, no hormones, is that simple. Second, chlorophyll and blood building foods and tools. Spinach, rocket, nettle, beetroot. And these are rich in iron, folate, and magnesium, exactly in a form your body can actually absorb. And beetroot specifically is brilliant for liver detox, which we know makes for estrogen clearance. If you are tired, pale, and cold all the time, this category is probably where you're most deficient. And third, blood sugar balance. This one is probably the most important daily habit you can build. Protein with every meal. Avoid refined carbohydrates on an empty stomach, because every time your blood sugar spikes and crashes, your cortisol spikes with it. And as we talked about, high cortisol steals your progesterone. So blood sugar chaos is directly driving your hormonal chaos. And then there are also products that I call hormone enemies in spring, which is alcohol. Alcohol blocks estrogen metabolism in the liver. Even 1 or 2 glasses a week can make a noticeable difference when you're already struggling. Refined sugar, it destroys insulin sensitivity and feeds inflammation. Processed vegetable oils, they drive inflammation throughout the body. And dairy that's high in growth hormones, worth being aware of, particularly if estrogen dominance is part of your picture. So I'm not saying never eat these things, because sometimes I eat these products as well. But I'm saying if you are wondering why you feel so bad despite trying so hard, this could be part of the answer. Okay. Now let's talk about movement, because this is another area where I see women making themselves worse while trying to do the right things. When you are exhausted and nothing is shifting, the instinct is often to push harder. That sounds familiar. More cardio, more intense workouts, more discipline. And I completely understand that instinct. But in spring, when your progesterone is low and your cortisol is already high, intense exercise is like adding fuel to a fire. It rises cortisol even further, and as we know, high cortisol steals your progesterone and disrupts everything downstream. Your body in spring doesn't want to be pushed, it wants to wake up gently. So what you can start doing? Walks in the fresh air. 30 minutes in the morning, even 20 minutes. It's one of the most powerful things you can do for your hormones. Right now, you get cortisol reset through light exposure, serotonin boost, and vitamin D, all from one simple action. And you got like 3 hormonal benefits, 0 cost. Yoga and stretching. These activities, what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode. It directly lowers cortisol, so even 20 minutes makes a measurable difference. So this is not a soft option, this is a targeted hormonal intervention. Strength training twice a week, not 5 times a week, simply twice a week is enough. Strength training builds insulin sensitivity, supports growth hormone, and importantly, it doesn't spike cortisol the way cardio does. So you get the metabolic and hormonal benefits without the stress response. And one more thing, syncing your movement with your cycle. In the first half of your cycle, after your period, your energy is naturally higher. That's your time to do more, go harder, take on more. In the second half, before your period, your body is asking for a gentle movement. So please honor that. It's not laziness, it's biology. And the women I work with who make the most progress are almost always the ones who stop fighting their body and start working with body instead. And that brings me to something I want to share with you, because everything we've talked about today, the nervous system, the hormones, the herb, the movement, the nutrition, it all works, but it works when it's done in the right order, at the right time, with the right support. And this is exactly what I've built for you. This is the 4-week natural hormone reset, and I want to be clear about what it is and what it's not. So this is not another list of things to try. It's not a complicated protocol that demands perfection. It's not another supplement stack. It's a structured week-by-week reset that follows the exact biological order your body needs to actually rebalance. That order matters more than anything else, because most things women try fail not because they're wrong, but because they done in the wrong sequence. So in this 4-week natural hormone reset, week one, we calm the nervous system first, because here's the truth. If your nervous system is still stuck in survival mode, nothing else will work. Your hormones cannot rebalance in fight or flight mode. So this is always where we start. And what most women notice at the end of the week number 1 surprises them. Better sleep, calmer mind, and that constant inner tension finally softening. In week number 2, inflammation drops and the liver gets support. Bloating eases, brain fog starts to leave, something that's been stuck for months, sometimes even years, starts moving. And women often say they feel lighter physically and mentally for the first time in a long time. In week number 3, your mood steadies. PMS softens, the emotional swings lose their edge. So you stop bracing how you're going to feel. You start trusting your body again. And in week 4, your hormones finally find a rhythm that holds. It's real energy, deeper sleep, emotional steadiness. And you look in the mirror and you can recognize her again. So it's not a new version of you, not a better version of you. It's just you, the one who was always there, just buried under too much load. And I'm not asking you to take my words for it. Anna says, gentle and doable, just 10 to 15 minutes a day. By week 4, she felt like herself again. Patricia came to me completely drained, zero energy, horrible PMS, random hot flashes, and now she says her body is finally calming down. That her energy is the best it's been in years. So that she's no longer dreading her cycle. Brenda was in perimenopause, feeling close and overwhelmed, and after 4 weeks she says her sleep is better, her mood is steady, and this is the part I love most. She stopped feeling anxious about her own health. She trusts what she's doing now. And this is what happens when your body is supported in the right order. Not pushed, not forced, supported. So I wanted to share something with you that I created specifically for tonight, because when I was putting this webinar together, I kept thinking, what do these women actually need? Not just the knowledge, not just the now I understand why, but a complete ready-to-use system that can start tomorrow or even today. Something that takes everything we talked about tonight and turns into real felt change. So I built something for you, a spring bundle, a spring energy bundle, created exclusively for the women on this webinar. And the heart of this bundle is the 4-week natural hormone reset. This is my signature program, the one that has helped hundreds of women go from bone deep exhausted to waking up actually rested. From mood swings and brain fog and feeling steady, clear, and like themselves again. So this program follows the exact biological sequence we talked about tonight. Calm the nervous system first, lower the hormone load, support the liver, stabilize digestion, and only then let the hormones rebalance naturally in the right order, because that's the only way it actually sticks. But because you are here tonight, I've added everything you need to make the reset as powerful as possible. So I added the hormone load method, This method allows you to find out what exactly what's driving your symptoms before you even start. No more guessing, no more wasting money on wrong things. I also added the Perimenopause Herbal Survival Guide, your complete reference for the herbs that actually work, which ones, when, and how much. I also added the Herbal Materia Medica video lesson, my deep dive into the 5 key herbs we talked about tonight. The ones that lower cortisol, supports progesterone, clear estrogen, and rebuild your energy from the inside out. And also, I added the 30-day herbal plan, a complete ready to follow spring protocol. So you don't have to think about it, you just open it and follow it. So this bundle exists because of this webinar, and it was built to help you around this season, around what your body needs right now in spring, and around the women in this room who showed up tonight, did the work, and deserve to feel the difference. So imagine 4 weeks from now, you wake up and you actually rested. Your mood is steady, not something that happens to you. The exhaustion that has been following all winter, it starts lifting. You start pushing through your days and you start living them. So this is what this reset does. Not because it's magic, because it follows the biology, it follows the sequences. So now the link for this bundle is in the chat right now, so please take a look. And I want to ask you something honestly. How many more springs do you want to feel like this? Because here's what I know. And I say this with kindness, not pressure. If nothing changes after tonight, next spring will feel exactly the same. You will wake up exhausted again. You will push through again. You will tell yourself it's normal again. And another year will pass and nothing will actually change. And I've seen this so many times. Women who understood everything, who nodded along, who said, yes, this is exactly me, and then closed it up and came back 12 months later saying, I wish I'd started sooner. So please look at this. You got 2 paths. If you join today, this spring feels different from the last one. You finally understand what's actually draining your energy. You stop wasting money on random supplements that don't work. You follow a clear step-by-step reset. No guessing, no confusion. And you finally wake up with the real energy again. Not just surviving the day, actually living it. But if you don't, next spring feels exactly the same or even maybe worse. You keep pushing through exhaustion and calling it normal. You keep trying things that don't quite work and quietly blaming yourself when they don't. You stay stuck in the same cycle and another year passes and nothing actually changes or even gets worse. So this bundle is available for the next 4 days. After that, the specific combination built around this webinar and the season disappears. So the link is in the chat, and before you close this page tonight, I want you to ask yourself one question. What is the cost of doing nothing? Not in money, in how you feel, in the mornings, in the relationships, in the version of yourself you've been missing. So your body is not broken, it just needs the right support in the right order, and that is exactly what this bundle gives you. Okay, so right now, let's go to questions. So I'm going to take 3 questions from the chat right now. So if there's something on your mind, something about your symptoms, about the herbs, about the program, about anything we've covered tonight, please type it now and I will take a sip. Okay, I'm currently on the pill taking antidepressant. Is it safe for me to take these herbs? Can I still do the reset? So that's actually a great question and a really important one. So the reset itself is a complete safe alongside medication. The lifestyle practices, the nutrition, the nervous system work, all of that is absolutely fine. For the herbs specifically, some herbs do interact with certain medication, especially with antidepressants. Vitex, for example, is not recommended alongside hormonal contraceptives. So my honest advice is start with the program, follow the lifestyle foundations, and email me directly, and I will tell you exactly which herbs are right for you and which ones to avoid. So it's a 5-minute conversation that makes all the difference. Okay, another one. Oh, that is quite often. My doctor keeps telling me my hormones level are normal and I'm fine, but I feel terrible. How do I know if this is really hormonal, and where do I even start? So like I said, this is probably the most common thing I hear, and it makes complete sense because standard hormone tests often look at the wrong markers, test at the wrong time, and use reference ranges that are designed for survival, not for feeling well. Normal on paper does not mean optimal in your body. So your symptoms are real data, and root cause work doesn't wait for a diagnosis. It starts with how you actually feel. That's always enough to begin. And the third question, I have a really busy life, 2 kids, full-time jobs. I've started things before and I never finished them. How much time does this actually take, and how is this different from everything else I've tried? So I hear you, and I want to say this clearly. The fact that you haven't finished things before is not it's not just your problem. It's not your problem, sorry. It's a design problem. Most programs are built for perfect days, and this one is built for real life. You will need 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's it. Everything is laid out for you. No planning, no decision, no working out what to do next. You've got planners. You can print it out. Just follow the tasks in your planner. Like I said, you open the plan and follow it. And honestly, most women find that by the end of week 1, they want to keep going because they can already feel the difference. And that's what changes everything. Okay, so on that note, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here tonight, for showing up for yourself, for giving yourself an hour, almost hour, to actually understand what's been happening in your body instead of just pushing through it. I know how exhausted you are. I know how long you've been carrying things, and I know how many times you've been told it's normal, it's stress, it's just your age, but it isn't. And I hope that tonight, even if just one thing clicked, you live with the sense that your body makes complete sense, that what you're feeling has a real biological explanation, and that there is a clear, natural way forward. If you feel ready to start that journey, the link to the bundles in the chat. It will be there for the next 4 days. And if you have any questions about the program, about your symptoms, about anything we've covered tonight, you can reach me directly at hello@herbedis.com or through Instagram, Herbedis. So I read every single message personally. So please take care of yourself. You shown up tonight. The thing that you showed up tonight already tells me something about who you are. So thank you for your time. I wish you all the best and good night.